All right, guys, today we are here to check out the cheapest powered bikes on all of Temu. Off we go. Now over here on my left, you guys are gonna notice this one is quite dirty. On top of being dirty, it's also kind of broken. Nothing major, but there's a story behind that. We actually bought this one here for the kids about 9 months ago. Now initially I was gonna put it directly into a video, but I thought, man, if there's anything I know about a 49cc engine, is that sometimes the cheaper ones after 1 or 2 months, they just don't start right. So let's start out with that. Hopefully we still have some gas in here. Good to go. All right, while it did take me 2 pulls there, still pretty easy. Now, this thing has been through the ringer. There has been absolutely zero maintenance done to this. It's probably got about 200 hours on it. We really sent this thing to the moon. I really just wanted to let the kids take it and do what they wanted with it and see if it lasted. They've crashed on this thing half a dozen times wearing safety equipment. Nobody got hurt. And of course, you'll see here, we took it through a whole bunch of trails. If you want to.
I remember this spot.
Now our second offering over here, this is a 350 watt folding e-bike for adults. I know, it's pretty small, but it's surprisingly comfortable, and this thing really folds down. Both of these come in under $200. We'll put the prices up here and here. And I do have to say, a pretty good bang for the buck. Now a couple more specs on this one here. This one comes with a set of 14-inch pneumatic tires, air-filled, some pretty decent brakes, and a 10 amp hour battery. So realistically, in our testing, we were getting 12 to 13 miles of range, which isn't amazing, but for a smaller package and the price, it's really not bad. With all of that said, we're gonna get out, we're gonna do some more riding on this one, we're gonna show some ride footage of this one, and talk about the pros and cons and whether or not these are for you. All right, guys, before we get on this test ride, let's go ahead and go over the basics. Right up in here, you have your key. It is a very simple off on, there's no extra buttons. You have a battery gauge here, a little like the CZ bike, and then a battery low warning right below it. Obviously you have your normal brakes right here. These aren't pneumatic or anything, simply wire driven. Coming into the left side here, you do have your headlight switch and your mode selector, 1, 2, and 3, as well as the horn, which is surprisingly loud. The horn is actually mounted on the back of the light here. You can see the speaker grill right in the back. Now, coming on down here, we can see the brakes themselves. I don't really see a brand anywhere on them, but they look and feel pretty decent. We have our 14-inch pneumatic tires, our 48 volt, 10 amp hour, 480 watt hour rated battery. Basically, all you need to take from the battery specs is that you're going to get roughly 10 to 13 miles of range. They do say 15, but you're probably not going to get 15. Now over here is one of the plugins for your actual battery pack, because this whole thing is removable. It does come with a separate set of keys to remove this as well. Here you have yourself a center shock. Let's just say it works surprisingly well. Then of course you have a back tail light. There are no blinkers on this unit, and everything kind of folds. You have a fold here, you have a fold here, and even the pedals. But basically, to fold the pedals, you push them in and lift up. Really cool little design. Helps a lot with space, surprisingly. So let's get on the ride. All right, guys, we are here at our old hill test right over here. Now, we are not using the more aggressive hill test we've been using with the newer stuff because, guys, 350 watt motor. There is absolutely no way it would make it up those hills. Now, just for a little fun fact, right here, we actually have what we're using for the follow scooter today. It kind of only seems fitting that we would bring out the Temu GT08 scooter, which I have had for closing in on 2 years now. And man, this thing has been ridden beyond compare. Still one of my highest recommended scooters of all time, especially for the price. But before we do this hill test, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of my impressions on this unit so far. In this video, in this filming day, this is actually the second day of riding. The first day I do riding tests and range tests, I don't tend to bring cameras. I want to focus on the ride, I want to focus on the experience, I want to really take it all in. I got 12 miles on the first battery and then it just completely turned off. Good news is it's not too hard to pedal, although if you're a long distance and you're a full-size adult, I am 6'1", 200 pounds roughly, it's not the fastest thing when you're manually pedaling it. That said, this goes faster than I expected. This gets up to about 23, 24 miles per hour in its top speed, and it feels pretty darn stable for what it is. It is also surprisingly comfortable, which I was not really sure about. I wasn't sure I was going to like this. And I did find myself when I was downtown doing some testing that for crosswalks or when I'm around a lot of people, this little pad back here works great as a knee pad. So you can actually get on it like this and go. Now, it's a little front heavy, it likes to flip up. I don't think that's exactly what it's designed for, but it works. That said, we're gonna try the hill test here. We're just gonna see if it'll make it up it. I really don't know if it will. We're giving ourselves about 75 feet of head start in the grass. We're not starting on the cement, just to be a little bit fair. All right, guys, we are in mode 3, and here we go. I'm not using any pedal assist. This is gonna be all electric motor. And just about as I expected, we made it about halfway. Not the most impressive, but again, it does a lot better when we're using hills like the bridge over there, which we're gonna go test next. Now, there is no doubt for this size of scooter, this thing actually kind of gets up and goes, guys. It's pretty impressive. For a 350 watt, it's really gonna give you a little bit more than you actually expect. All right, guys, this is the end of our second full day of riding. This is gonna basically be the end of the test. So let's talk about the overall experience. First off, way more comfortable than I ever expected. Pedaling as a 6'1" guy, that's kind of a no-go. Listen, it'll work in a pinch, but it is not comfortable for somebody my height. Now, you can still raise the seat, you can still raise the handlebars, giving you a much bigger posture, but I found it was a lot more stable right about here. Coming into a couple of other things. Online, it says this thing maxes out at 21 miles per hour, a class 2 e-bike. But that's not true. We actually clocked it at 42 kilometers an hour, or just under 27 miles per hour. And guys, it feels surprisingly stable. It's a folding bike. So one of its biggest things is, will it fit in a car? Well, absolutely. Let me show you. You can see right here, same with the front one. You have a pin you have to remove. Now guys, if I'm willing to test it in my little tiny car, I trust it. Plenty of room, and this actually will also fit in the trunk. Now what's really cool about that too is once it's folded up, look at this handle. Look at this. One-handed, very easy to maneuver, very easy to move around. Not a single other folding bike I had something like that. So in the end, do I really have any dislikes about this $187 e-bike? For the price, pretty much no. As an overall e-bike experience, for the size of the battery, I would love to see a little bit more range than the 12 to 13 miles on a full charge. Given what this unit is for, that's probably good enough for most people. And being that it is an online bike, normally I'd say, hey, just find yourself an extra battery, strap it onto the back, and you have twice as much range. But finding specific products for a lot of these Chinese-made brands can be kind of hard. So that is obviously going to be a downside. The headlight works great, the horn works great, the bike is surprisingly comfortable and stable. Honestly, guys, it is really hard to beat for the price. Oh, one more caveat, 200 pounds. The pedals will hold them standing up, guys, but they flexed a little bit. Maybe I need to lose a few pounds, maybe they need stronger pedals, but they didn't break and they made the entire trip. All right, guys, that's gonna be about it for this bike. Let's hop on back to the house and finish our discussion on the dirt bike. All right, guys, back over here to the dirt bike. Let's talk about a couple of the more good to know things. Pretty basic. You do have your brake setup here and here. This is your throttle, cable driven. This is your emergency stop button, plus you have an emergency cable in case somebody falls off. Normal gas tank fill. And here is your little engine. This is a 49cc 4-stroke engine. That means you're going to have oil and gas separated with a single pull start. Pull start has always been very easy on this machine. The shocks work pretty well. Here we go. Let's get her. It does come with a little plate there. You can see it is by GB Moto. It does have normal brakes in the front and back, as well as a rear shock and spring suspension. For all this time, the only actual broken piece on the whole unit is the rear tail fin here. The plastic snapped off in one of many, many falls where the kids made their own ramps. Now let's get into who this is good for. Honestly, it's pretty simple, guys. This is for a smaller kid who is preferably under about 80 pounds. My kid who was riding this said she weighs roughly 80 pounds. I'm not supposed to ask that. We're gonna move on. But anyway, she weighs about 85 pounds and she is getting a little bit tall for this unit, but she still loves riding it. There are no gears, there is no shifting. It is a very straightforward push the clutch and go. It's a centrifugal clutch. It just kind of catches and goes. That said, with her weight, you will notice in some of the mud or deeper sand, you can hear that thing really struggling to get going. Now, if you had a 50 or 60 pound kid riding this thing, I don't think it would struggle quite as much. This will even move me on completely flat ground, otherwise the clutch just cannot engage. So if you guys are looking to get your kid into something and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, because let's face it, guys, prices are absolutely ridiculous on this kind of stuff right now, I would say this is an absolutely awesome buy. Plus, I could probably turn around and sell this for dang near what I paid for it right on Facebook Marketplace, because stuff like this is in such high demand. Now, let's keep in mind too, safety is huge. Make sure they're wearing a full bike helmet. Please be very careful with your kids. That is extremely important because this thing does over 35 miles an hour. On the website, it says it only does about 25, guys. We clocked it going over 35 miles an hour, and I had to tell her to slow down because it's small. If she falls at that speed, even with the helmet on, she's going to get hurt. So that's going to be about it for today's video, guys. If you have any questions on either of these two units, they will be sticking around. They were purchased by me, no sponsorship. Let me know what you guys think in the below. Let me know if you have tried either of these brands before. That's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one.